To me, the most exciting part of the morning was the Dunkin' Donuts delivery.
It's time to take a therapeutic dose, a prescription-strength reality TV podcast that explores the intersection of reality TV and therapy. Possible side effects may include entertainment, strong emotional reactions, and/or laughter. Here are your hosts, Ramona Ramirez and Margie McGee.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to A Therapeutic Dose, where we meet at the intersection of reality TV and therapy. I am Margie McGee, and with me, as always, is my dear friend and co-host.
Hi, I'm Ramona Ramirez, and I'm glad to be here.
Tell your tone.
I am always glad to podcast with you.
Same.
If you hear the tones in my voice, it's from my non-podcast
It's the weariness of parenting.
circumstances, and yes,
It's a full-time,
yes,
relentless,
I'm feeling
thankless
challenged
job
as a
for while.
parent right now. Yes,
Mhm.
and there's a good chance next time we sit down to record about these fools that I won't have this weariness. But right now, it's just yeah. Anyway, no one called to hear about this.
Listen,
We
I
use Bravo
feel-
to escape from real life, not go into the slog about. Anyway,
It's relatable, dude. It's relatable. I don't know
Anyway.
any parent who just coasts through. And then, again, Bravo acting as a cautionary tale. We get to see what happens if people aren't parented with boundaries. And
Yeah,
as hard as it is, it's the right thing to do.
yeah, agreed. Jesse Solomon's been careening into a pit, like just careening towards a finish line that none of us should be training for. The last 3-4 weeks of this show, he's shown what we thought was his whole ass. And yet last night's episode, just when I think there's got to be just like a little tiny shred of the kernel, like the skin of the kernel must be sinking in, right? Like it has to. He's hearing the feedback from everybody, not just Lexi anymore, like from everybody. And he's still, the little kernel skin just, bounces off and collects on the fucking floor of his life.
He just wants to be like seen as a nice guy and a good guy more than he wants to actually be a nice guy or a good guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's just not willing to do the work. Even this opening conversation with Sierra.
Oh my God.
I don't think he actually understands what he did wrong or knows what to do to change it, but he was just like so glad that it was over. He's like, can't get rid of me.
Yeah.
Give me a goddamn hug. It's like, you're so annoying.
Oh, ugh.
And we were just talking about how this happens with anyone who I lose respect for. Most people appear in my life as like impressionistic paintings. They're just like beautiful and kind of flawless. And then as I get to know them in detail, they either like draw my attention more and they're more beautiful art, or they become what Jesse Solomon is, which is just a pile of horrific physical attributes. Like I just start picking him apart because I can't stand him, and I'm no specimen, but I'm pure of heart, and Jesse feels like he's just absolutely not. And so sometimes I can't stand listening to him talk, so I focus on his hairline or his mouth, and I just start going like, you're gross inside and out.
I know. Yeah. And obviously that's not something that like either one of us do or support, but he makes it hard to not. Like all of a sudden he did. It was like that Seinfeld episode. Possibly some of you are too young to know who Seinfeld is or watch those shows, and I get it. It's fine. My point is there was a Seinfeld episode where Jerry was dating a woman that looked one way during some times and another way during other times. And Jesse is now, which is not a fucking great storyline, FYI. I do not think that would be made in 2025, but in 1997, oh God, what is that, 30 years ago?
Good Lord.
Almost. Oh God.
Yeah. Oh my God.
How many people have
shocking.
turned this episode off? Like, I didn't turn in for this.
For two nanas to talk about must-see TV.
The Thursday night lineup on NBC before we had streaming. My point is that we saw it last night, like when he and Lexi were having the conversation on the porch. I looked at him and I was all, "Bleh." Same way I look at, same way. Okay, you could absolutely argue that if we're talking about like capitalism and what makes people attractive and attractive people in general, obviously this cast, purely based on looks, are people that would be considered attractive people
Of course.
on the spectrum of attractive to drop dead gorgeous.
And Jesse last season was
Yes,
like, fine. I didn't give a shit.
exactly,
I was like, he's cute,
exactly,
he's tall, he's great.
exactly.
Who cares?
And that's what I'm saying is that his insides, like his reaction to this it's given me the ick too. I mean, last year I was
Yeah.
fawning all over this person, and now he's making West look more attractive to me like West looked attractive to me last year.
Because some level of accountability and remorse is attractive. It boosts your, and maybe that's just like a girl's perspective, but it's true both ways. Like someone who may not be objectively attractive, if they can crack a joke, nothing's cuter. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know, but all I know is that Jesse Solomon, I think it's what you're saying. The past 4 weeks have been just this intense barrage of like, you are relentlessly awful and you take no responsibility and you don't want to learn or be better. You just want to be seen how you were seen last year instead of evolving into someone who can learn from a relationship that's not going to go the distance. And it's so ugly.
It really, it is. It's, ugh, ugh, ugh. So I guess I'm procrastinating starting because
he launches us with his big mouth on the beach.
Yep.
I don't know the title of the episode.
Oh, God.
Forbid.
Oh, yes. This is Summer House, season 9, episode 14, entitled The X-Files.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, Lexi
Yeah.
and Lindsay. Lindsay,
Yeah.
man. Holy shit.
Oh my God. She's
Holy
on a
shit.
tear.
Woo.
But
It
I'm
just-
just so proud of Carl for really, he's grown a lot in the last year. I know
I
she's
think
done
so.
a lot and posted every single accomplishment, but he appears to have grown a lot to just like not fight it. That definition of insanity is,
I mean-
doing it over and over again, expecting a different result. You can't have a conversation with Lindsay and get anywhere. So he was like, okay. It's weird
Yep.
you had to post it, but congratulations. Okay.
Yep.
Like he just
Yep.
was like, ugh.
He's been unintentionally, no, like provoked while not being in the room. Like
Mhm,
he
mhm.
hasn't.
She's doing that on purpose.
that's what I'm
she
saying,
Knows how
yes.
to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so last night when like the worst he said was, okay, well, congratulations. Like the
Yeah.
worst you can accuse him of is being passive aggressive, which I am not a fan of that behavior in the least.
But
His-
he reined it back in. He started down that road and then he was like, nope. And then he was just like, well, congratulations. I'm really proud of you. We've both individually found a way to be happy. Good for us. Like he was so,
yeah.
and again, it was only a year ago that breakup, like it's so raw. I don't know if I would be that composed in the face of an ex who I felt had been, because she's, since the day of the breakup, she's been in the press going like, I was blindsided. This was unfair. He's an asshole. And like, anyways, I was impressed with Carl.
This is what happens when you're willful. Did I just sound like an old timey like preacher? I didn't mean to sound churchy. I just meant Jesse can't see what he's doing. Lindsay can't see what he's doing because neither one of them wants to see what they're doing. And for the most part, what they're doing is still working for them in some way. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Just talking about how emotionally triggered I am by strangers that wouldn't know me on the street.
And I wouldn't know either. You know what I mean? I would probably walk by most of these people and never blink. But
Oh my God.
we start with Jesse and Sierra. We pick up where we left off with them on the beach, continuing their talk where Sierra had just said, like, I'm just over you. I'm just going to try and get through the summer. And Jesse starts right in with like manipulation and martyrdom. Like, I thought our friendship was a little deeper than you being over me, putting it on her. So it's now her problem again. And I love Sierra because she just goes, okay. And Sierra's amazing. All of these women really are really impressive to me. She says she takes her friendship seriously, and basically she doesn't feel he demonstrated the same level of like care and respect that she's had for him. You know, she's like, I want you to be in a relationship and have the most fun. I'm never going to be mad and upset. And he's like, I feel like you're mad and upset right now. And she's like, I am, but not about you being in a relationship.
Oh,
It's about you saying you were joking, but then saying you were getting yelled at. And she's like, all of us. She's like, what does that even mean?
no one knows. I don't think he knows.
Well, this was the one moment where I feel like he told the truth. He goes, at that time, Lexi was hearing lots of things I was doing wrong. So I was just trying to get myself out of trouble and stop myself from getting into more trouble. So basically, he's admitting I was misbehaving like crazy and I used you as a scapegoat to get myself out of the bad graces of this girl. I used you. That's what he did. He knows it and he uses her again later in the episode to say the breakup was. And it just puts it all on Lexi, like implying she was nagging him for no good reason. Like she had all the good reasons. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
And then he says he hopes he can improve and be an even better friend and make it up to her. And I think he's just saying words that he thinks he should say. I don't see him meaning that, but I don't fucking know. Clearly, when they're hanging out at the US Open together, and I think they were just seen together, I know that they're on a TV show. I don't doubt that this was really happening. Did West ever pull her aside and have a conversation like this? It sounds like he didn't. And at least Jesse is, but obviously I can't say one way or the other. I don't know. I don't remember him doing it on camera, even at the
West?
reunion. Yeah.
No. At the reunion, he botched it completely and was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to be Sierra's lapdog. And it was like, whoa. To me, it just feels like Sierra, I'm projecting, reconfigured who Jesse is in her life. He's no longer a trustworthy
Ah,
friend. He's just a
yes.
cool guy to party with,
He's
which
a
I think is
castmate
true.
that yeah.
He's great
Yeah.
to go to the US Open, great to go to Coachella with. He's
Coachella,
fun.
that's where they just were. Yes,
Yeah,
thank
just
you.
dance
Yeah.
around and party, but like he's not trustworthy. He's not who you call when you're in an emergency, and that's fine. So
Yeah.
he'll just live in that space in her world and it's all good. You know, there's people in my life who've cycled through who are like just great hangs. For
Totally.
years, I had a concert buddy. Like we weren't good friends, but we loved going to concerts. So that's what we did, and that was enough. So,
Mm-hmm.
eh.
Mm-hmm. I can see that. I can see that. And yes, that leads to the next thing of note. Ciara says she's salty about it, but it's not irreparable. And that makes him overly relieved. And then he shit the fucking bed again and says, yeah, you're spicy, and that's why I like you. As someone who is half Latina and was fetishized a lot during my single days, like more than I would like to recall, spicy, fiery. It's so disgusting. Like if I express emotion and my feelings about what you're doing in an impassioned way, oh, you're spicy. Like it's so disgusting. It's gross. My hands are in fists.
Because this was such like a generous sentiment and so well
Yes.
communicated by Sierra. And then I think you're right. He just felt relief. He didn't think about anything he'd promised her. He was just like, oh, phew, it's over. And then kind of blames her by saying, you're spicy. I think that's why I like you so much. It's like she wasn't spicy. She had
Mm-mm.
feelings because you
Mhm.
hurt her feelings. I didn't feel anything spicy about that. I think Jesse's just so used to being adored and coddled that he can't compute when like a woman has an objection to your behavior. She's not being spicy. She's just trying to work through an obstacle.
Yeah.
He's just a nightmare to me. I just was like, oh my God. And then he asked for a hug. And to Sierra's credit, she's like, is that okay? Because the reason we're sitting down here is because you scolded me for touching your arm. And now we're going to hug in front of your girlfriend. What? I was just, again, I'm like, and we've reset back to what the fuck? There's no boundaries. Nothing's clear. I think Sierra was just in a place of like, I'm tired of fighting. This guy will be someone that I have Aperol spritzes with at the US Open, and we'll leave it at that.
Totally. So then they return back home, and he immediately starts talking shit about Sierra to Lexi. My apology was so genuine off the jump, and she just couldn't take it. It hurt my feelings. What the fuck?
He just has to be a victim. And he just told Lexi about where the conversation started. He doesn't tell her about where it ended, which was Sierra being so kind and being like, I'll get over it. This is fine.
Yeah, unless they edited it out, but it didn't look like it just from the physicality of it just felt like that was it.
Well, and based on what Lexi has said all summer, this lines up with that. Like Jesse has been telling Lexi that Sierra has been icing out West, and now Sierra's being rude to Jesse because of the arm touch. So Jesse's painted this picture of Sierra, and this lines up with the picture he's painted. It's just, it's unconscionable.
I know.
Because it's so, he literally just had a conversation about friendship, and he's throwing Sierra right under the bus again.
Mm-hmm.
Anything he has to do in any moment to make himself feel good is on the table, which is just so creepy for an adult.
Lazy and toxic. Yeah, red flag, red flag. On the spectrum of red flags. I'm not even talking about flags. I'm talking about that on the spectrum of red flags specifically. He's not at the end of I am not red flag.
He's like deeply saturated ox blood.
Yes, exactly. Oh my God. Oh my God. So Lexi in her confessional, after we see the scene of Jesse throwing Sierra under the bus on the beach, she says she has questions. And I said she should be questioning herself being with this man baby, which apparently she does after, later in the episode.
With a real clear answer on the other side of that question.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody goes to bed, and then it's morning, and Lindsay and Gabby leave early. And Jesse, I don't know, it's just like, it feels like love bombing when he's like, you're the only girl I want to kiss in the morning. And Lexi reciprocates because that's what those relationships are like. And to me, the most exciting part of the morning was the Dunkin' Donuts delivery.
I was going to say that too. They were all like, they were still like puffy and moist and like shiny. And
the
they
hadn't been affected by no effects of travel at all. Both boxes like lined up gorgeous, great assortments.
My God.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they looked like beautiful and glowing in that kitchen. I was like, oh,
I know.
what a centerpiece for that island.
Agreed. I could feel like the toothsomeness of when Paige bit into the Boston cream.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. I was compelled.
If I hadn't been watching this so late last night, I couldn't guarantee that I wouldn't have driven somewhere to get a donut. Dunkin' really got some good product placement.
It did.
Wow.
It did. Yep. Totally. So then we head back to New York, and Lindsay holds up a pair of teeny tiny diapers. You just can't believe how small those things can be.
It's pretty cute.
Yeah. And then we see the scene of Jesse and Sierra. I don't know if other cast members were there because they didn't show them, which would make sense for the whole narrative. So whatever. And I know it's part of how the sausage is made, but they're at the US Open and they're having a great time. So yes, drinking an Aperol Spritz, it looks like. Love an Aperol Spritz.
I love the US Open.
Love it.
It's so
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, that's what I hear. What I hear.
It was hot. I went one year. I went the year that Serena and I can't remember who the other person was that played. How sad. But it was a 5-hour match. And it was like, I had the time of my life. It was so fun. That stadium's amazing. Anyways, who cares? Let's go to Amanda's bikini preview party. Her line launches in February, but she wants to show that she actually did it. So Paige can't say founder and CEO of what? And then we get the flashback to the iconic moment where Danielle says, as a founder CEO, and then Paige's confessional where she goes laughing. She's like, of what?
Yeah.
We still don't know because I don't know what happened to her app, but
I don't either.
I don't know.
I really wanted to like Danielle. I really wanted to like Danielle, but every season I was like, I don't like Danielle at all.
She's another person who
I can't figure her out at
I
all.
I don't know who she really is because she's someone who she doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it. But
Oh,
yeah, that
I
season of Balloon Guy and Founder CEO was like a real rough season for
Oh my
her. So,
God, balloon guy.
oh,
Yeah. Gabby, go for this guy. Well, never mind.
she
Oh
was just
wait,
like,
was that another guy? Oh, who cares?
no, I think that because yeah, I think Gabby was, and that was when she was. In fairness, she was in the throes of a breakup, so none of us make great decisions. But to really the pursuit of Balloon Guy and the insistence on her founder CEO status was like really unpleasant. Amanda was funny in this episode. She's found the right little balance
I
of
know.
meds and therapy and life and
I'm s-
work
I'm
and all of it.
I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
So at least here we get to see, all of her castmates have shown up and Imral is back. And I was so happy to see
Me
Imral in this
too.
episode. I think that that's the general consensus going around is like, we love Imral. Wait, bring back Imral. I
He
feel
was
like,
not at the upfronts, so that's not a great sign.
oh,
But I loved him too. Yeah.
was Paige at the upfronts?
Uh-huh.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And Jesse and
All right.
Kyle and all of
Because
them.
I've heard rumblings that Paige is not coming back.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. I feel like I just saw some clip of them all parading on stage and I thought I saw
Yeah,
her, but maybe I'm
unless
wrong.
she's getting another Bravo show
Oh,
instead, which
yeah.
who knows?
Her and her
Who
cat.
knows? Her and Daphne.
Yeah, city kitties. I don't know. Jesse then arrives and he greets Lexi and her sister and tells them they both look lovely and spectacular. And it's all just like lip service.
Totally.
It just doesn't feel sincere, including this conversation he has with West. Like West has like 1,000-yard stare. And it really appears like he's also kind of sick of Jesse's like drama and lies and sucking up to Sierra and everyone else. Jesse like love bombs West and tells him like you've got a really handsome face, like you got to switch it up and shave off the mustache, whatever. And it works. West comes to life and is like, "Really? Thanks, man." And then he's fully engaged in the conversation.
And then I don't know. Oh God. Like I acknowledge that Kyle and Amanda are a package deal. I acknowledge that. I acknowledge that if they get paid appearances, they probably do some of them together. I asked myself when I was taking notes why I was so annoyed and why I thought Kyle was just making this event about him when he did his little request to the audience to be quiet because she was going to make a speech. It's a very reasonable thing for someone to do to get everyone's attention. Like, okay, we're going to officially start this. But when Kyle did it, it feels so, he just feels, it just, everything is just like, the attention. I don't know. I don't think it's if you spot it, you got it right now, because I'm very conscious about other people being in the room or other people expressing their voice. I don't have to do it for them. I don't know. Am I going too deep on this?
I don't know. I don't know. To me, he just seemed like if I'm Amanda, that's exactly what I would expect of Kyle.
Okay.
Just like a little too drunk for the occasion, but like muddles through and does fine. Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
I just had I notice also that the longer I watch Kyle, and again, I also want to say that I acknowledge that when I watched seasons 1 through 8 of Summer House, I watched them in succession. I didn't have 9 months off to recalibrate my system and
Hmm.
maybe forget a little bit about how Kyle is. Maybe not though, because if I look at other casts on other franchises like Beverly Hills, for example, or Orange County, like I go 9 months between seeing those fools and I still haven't forgotten their personalities. So I don't know. Move on. Move on. I got to cut myself off from
Wait,
this.
but before we move on, I do want to go back to the West and Jesse chat
Oh,
because Jesse
please.
reports that he's good now, that he and Lexi are back together and he and Sierra are back on track. And then Wes asked Jesse if he saw Lexi this week. And then he says, did you see her alone or go out with her family? And Jesse says, oh, it was just me and Lexi that went to dinner last night. And then we flip to Gabby, who asks Lexi how things are going with Jesse. And Lexi's sister reports that Jesse bought her and her mom tequila. So it's like a little lie of omission. Like he went alone to dinner with Lexi, but he didn't mention the part. Like he's just really doing this weird cherry picking thing where
Yep.
it's true. You can't be busted for an outright bald faced lie, but you're doing a weird move of like when West asks you with a little edge in his voice, was it with their family? And you're like, absolutely fucking not, dude. It was just me and her. It's like,
Yeah.
I guess dinner was just you and her, but then you went with her family. Like it's weird. I hate that. It's just
Yeah.
it's really skeevy because as my former therapist would say, only one person has all the information.
Yep.
So you're painting a picture, but it's real fucking incomplete.
And it's manipulating the truth to make
Absolutely.
yourself look a certain way. Yeah.
I want to look like this in front of this crowd, so I'm going to say just this part of it.
Yep.
Anyways, Amanda shows her bathing suits and she's happy. And it seems like a near 180 from last summer, so I'm happy for her.
I agree. And she's like, what Kyle refers to as my passion project. And that also seemed to diminish. It's like, yes, it is a passion project, but it feels like the way he said it or the way he referred, like, I don't think he takes her seriously at all. I just don't.
I don't think so either.
And
or he
so,
takes, at the very least, he takes himself more seriously.
Yeah.
He's
or,
full Danielle founder CEO bullshit over there.
Yeah.
This is just Amanda did a cute project with another company.
Exactly.
But I do the real work.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. It doesn't feel like he sees her as an entrepreneur.
And she's not really, but I see her as someone who's made enormous strides from where she was a year ago. So if I'm her partner, I'd be celebrating that because she's on her way to do whatever she wants. Like, and they approached her like she's attracting, that's amazing. Now it's Friday and West and Jesse are driving in for their last weekend. West wants to lock in for a boys' weekend and asks Jesse if he's allowed. And Jesse says
So
no. And I'm like,
gross.
don't worry, bud. You're about to be all good for all boys' nights forever.
Yeah, exactly. So then Lindsay, Gabby, and Lexi are in the car on their way, and Lexi tells them that Jesse told her the night before that he was at 9 p.m. he was going to get a manicure, and that after all of this summer of non-truths and lies of omission and then just straight out lies, she doesn't trust what he's doing, and she thinks she should just end it because he doesn't understand what a relationship is, and she plans to break up with him this weekend.
Yeah. And she nails it. She tells the girls she's done teaching him and he doesn't understand what a relationship is. And she says, reflecting on the summer, she realizes that all the chaos and drama stems from him. And
No
it takes
shit.
a while to see that when you're in love with someone or think you are.
Yeah,
So
infatuated.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's fun to feel like that. So it's hard to step back and be like, wait a minute. Everything that was problematic also came from the same source.
Yep, exactly. So West and Jesse show up in the house. Kyle and Amanda show up, and Imral shows up. Yay. And
On
I
his
guess,
little motorcycle.
yeah, and the night before he had dropped off a large, what is it? Is it?
Scythe or something? Is that what it's called?
Yes, because I was thinking sickle, but I'm like, no, a sickle is
Or maybe
different than
that's
what he
right.
dropped off.
It's
I
whatever
think
the
it is
Grim
a
Reaper
scythe. Whatever the Grim
carries.
Reaper,
Yeah.
right. Hilarious, but also it's New York. I don't know. I would have walked by it.
I know that is hilarious, but he was riding his motorcycle, so I guess he couldn't make the
Yep,
drive
exactly.
with a giant
That would have
weapon
looked
on his
hilarious.
back.
Yes,
that would have been
exactly.
amazing.
Exactly.
He would have looked like the Grim Reaper on a motorcycle. Anyways.
Hilarious.
Then Carl's soft bar sprinter van arrives and we see his business partner, Brian, and he mentions he did an event at Barry's and there's one tomorrow in Sag Harbor and another one on Sunday in Montauk. While he's waiting for the storefront to be ready to open, he's touring this little pop-up bar situation around to drum up some interest and cash.
Some funding. Yep.
Mhm.
And they unload a metric ton of leftover Costco sandwiches and Costco muffins.
That was so sad. He's like, I just wanted to bring like snacks. And I was like, no, you didn't. You just brought trash and it looks sweaty and weird.
Oh my God. So Amanda asks the group if they've seen Lindsay's latest Instagram post because she's posted a year in review, starting with the end of her engagement, which happened a year ago this weekend.
This day.
This day, yeah. So.
And then
Woo!
she followed it up with like a lengthy timeline, like the self-congratulatory list of all that's happened, magazine covers and pregnancy announcements and dating and blah, blah, blah. It's just talk about ick.
Yeah.
Lindsay announces in the car that she'll be hosting a freedom dinner to commemorate the occasion because it set her free to go achieve her dreams.
Dude, the lady doth protest too much. You're right.
Truly.
To repeat what you've said during this season and in other franchises, the opposite of love isn't hate. The opposite of love is indifference. And she is not indifferent to Carl. I'm not even asking her to be indifferent to Carl. I'm not asking that of her. I'm not expecting that of her. But just, again, don't fucking play me in the face and say that you're free, because you're not free.
No, you are in bondage.
Yes.
Like you are bound to that
Yes.
moment in time. And Carl makes note of that, saying if she's putting something out with that much detail, it's screaming that basically something dark is motivating it and that she's struggling with the reality of what happened.
Yeah.
And she's still trying to craft a new narrative for herself. But we all watched that season. She was not blindsided. Like maybe in the moment, she didn't expect to hear it that day, but they were headed for disaster. It was that whole summer was awful.
It was awful.
Arguing and fighting and everybody staggering their arrivals because they couldn't stand each other. Like it
Yeah.
was so dark and sad.
Yeah.
And then I love Lindsay, Gabby, and Lexi enter, and West mentions the post to Lindsay. And she's like, I don't know what your point was, West. And he was like, what the, like, in fairness to West, I was like, he tells the boys outside, like, Lindsay just posted it, which I thought was an invitation. That would be her whole point in posting it right this second, is that when she entered the house, we'd all have seen it and talked, like, what is this woman doing? He like fully crumbled under the pressure because she's terrifying.
She is terrifying, and he doesn't like confrontation.
Exactly.
And
It's a terrible matchup. Yeah.
Exactly. That combo is not productive.
Mm-mm.
He said, you know, like this would make me automatically think, okay, she's having some judgment about posting all this. Like it's crossed her mind that Carl, what he says later, like those things have crossed her mind, I would guess.
Mhm.
Because if she was really 110% like cool with what she posted, what Wes says or doesn't say isn't going to make a difference to her.
Mhm.
But she gets ornery about it. And so, tee-hee, it was entertaining.
It was entertaining.
Yep.
And then in the kitchen, we have Amanda, Gabby, and Lindsay. And Amanda, again, she's so funny this episode. She says to Lindsay, I saw your post. Sorry, I read your book because it was so long.
And then she says that I thought we were done with timelines. And Lindsay says, yeah, but now the timelines are reflective. Okay.
Lindsay is just an ever a contradiction. And then the story switches to Lexi, who enters and says she's over it with Jesse. She just doesn't trust him at all. And she doesn't want to have to question when he tells her anything. And that's the position she's found herself in. Maybe he did get a 9 p.m. manicure, but the fact that her first thought was, I don't know if that's true, is indication it's time to break up.
Exactly. And I thought that was I think that is healthy. Like if I'm at the point where I'm going to be questioning everything you're doing, that's insane. I got to bounce. Like
it's exhausting.
Could have been, should have been, would have been, but it's not. Who has been saying this, lately? Like, don't stay for potential. I mean, I stayed for potential so many times. My God, I think it's probably human to stay for potential.
Of course. But she got out pretty quick when she realized, like,
what is this?
Yeah.
Are we at 6 weeks?
Yeah.
Total?
It all crystallized somehow with the manicure. And she was like, that's it.
Yep.
And Amanda, in a little confessional, says she worries for Jesse Solomon being heartbroken. And I was like, well, that makes one of us. He deserves to be heartbroken.
And
He's been a monster.
when she said that, I was like, this is why we should never assume that she'll leave Kyle.
Yeah.
Either
just-
she's really, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not forgiving enough. Or is it just that I'm way older than these people and I'm like, well, I gotta tell ya.
You're not way older. Kyle's 45.
Okay.
Right?
42. 42? No,
Okay.
Schwartz is 42.
Yeah, I think they're the same age, aren't they?
Are they?
I don't know.
Who knows? But I don't know remember when Samantha Jones says, welcome to my box, when it's like the 35 to 44 or whatever thing that Carrie gets. Again, losing people with references, possibly, which is, I apologize. My point is that when we feel sorry for someone who doesn't necessarily, again, on the cosmic scoreboard, on the psychic scoreboard, does he deserve compassion? Oh,
Look,
God, everybody
it's
deserves
not-
compassion. That's not
They
what I'm
do, but
saying.
it's not about compassion. It's about consequences.
Yes, thank you.
It's
Thank
like
you.
I honestly I had compassion for him in the midst of that conversation when I saw it really land on him that it was over and he'd fucked it up beyond repair. I felt for him, but I also was just like, within reason, I feel for you because your actions have consequences,
Yes.
and these are the consequences. So manage your fucking feelings like everyone else has to.
Yeah, your choices brought you here. This is
Yeah.
you're not just like, oh, I'm floating in the wind. I'm at the
Yeah.
mercy of everybody else.
And if
Yeah.
you don't feel good about your choices or where it's landed you, then make some changes. That's
Yeah.
what life is all about, dude.
Totally,
It's not about
totally.
justifying what happened and doing exactly what he does on the other side of this. It's
Yep.
just.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah,
first,
yeah.
we stop in outside with West, Kyle, Imral, and Carl. And Jesse is saying that he's wanted to ask Lexi to be his girlfriend, but it's feeling weird. And Carl noticed that the energy was off when she came in today. And like everyone's sensing it, that Lexi's starting to create some distance. And then
Good.
Lexi comes asks to talk to Jesse, and everybody outside repositions to listen in as they go to the balcony, Kyle's balcony. And Sierra arrives, and the girls tell her that Lexi's dumping Jesse. And then we go to the balcony to watch it all go down.
Yeah. She says that they need to chat and realign. Realign.
She handled this so beautifully. It's so hard to have a breakup conversation. And she did such a good job of keeping it in I statements on her side of the street. She said that she's lost trust and it's not fair to either of them to try and function like that. She goes, I feel like you aren't ready for the relationship I'm looking for. I just need to be with someone I can trust without any doubt in my mind. And that's all very fair. And Jessie took it as like a burn, but it's actually just fact. And she was really clear. I was impressed.
I was too. I just want to back up a little bit before we see the scene where they start. The man baby peanut gallery, not Imral, but the boys around the fire pit, West, Kyle, probably just those two. They're
Carl
like
and Emerald.
Yeah. But I don't know if Carl and
Oh, you mean West
Imral
and Kyle
were
are the man babies.
Right. They're the
I
man
gotcha.
babies. They're the main man babies, yes. And they're muttering, oh, she looks pissed, instead of, oh, he had this conversation coming. You know, like, oh, he's going to get a read right now. And it's like, yeah, it's well fucking deserved. We saw this we saw this coming. He had this coming, not she looks pissed. I don't know. Again, I'm nitpicking this stuff because, again, it's like, yes, what you just said, Jessie is avoiding consequences.
Well, and I
And-
think they're seeing it through the lens of the guy in that situation.
Yeah.
And when a woman approaches, it's like a girl when a guy says we have to talk. It's like, oh no,
Yeah,
like you know what's
exactly.
going to happen. And,
Exactly.
like,
I know.
And she did look pissed, but I didn't hear anyone say, and she shouldn't be. They were all just like,
True.
I mean, Kyle of all people seems most thrown by how this summer has gone between the two of them. Like he can't get over it. He's like, it's been wild. Like every weekend he's like, they're kissing again now and they're broken up. And like, I think everybody could see that this was,
The writing was on the wall.
it's a flash in the pan. And
Exactly.
destined to burn out.
Exactly. So Jesse confirms that he just wants to make sure that, okay, you're breaking up with me. And he says, I thought we were in a good place. What changed? I've been abiding by the rules you set out. Oh,
You nagging shrew. I did what you said, you nagging shrew.
Oh, my God.
Poor little innocent
my
me.
God.
I've been making a good effort to abide by all the rules. Like, well, then you should get out of this relationship because you shouldn't need rules to be with your partner.
Plus,
Let her set you free.
If you're going to speak in what would we refer to this as child-coded language?
Truly.
I've been doing what you told me to do. Bruh, you don't deserve an adult relationship yet. Like, you're not worthy of it yet. And I don't mean worthy as in mindfulness, compassion, blah, blah, blah. I mean, like, you've got some shit to work on before you unleash your toxicity on unsuspecting people.
And he didn't abide by the rules.
No, he did not.
He got a toe sucked and then he just didn't. Like, I think that's the part of like, just say, I fucked up all over the place this summer. I really liked you and I know I messed up and I wish there was a way I could earn your trust back. Can we talk about that? And then she would probably say no. But he can't. He's just like, you told me to do all these things and you're so mean and I did them all right and I was a good little boy and now you're going to dump me?
Yeah.
Wow. I'm surprised.
So at some point, Kyle wanders into the kitchen, and this is where Lindsay tells Kyle and Ciara and everyone else in the kitchen that they're breaking up because Lexi got the ick. So in the car ride up, I'm assuming that at some point Lexi probably said, I have the ick now, but we just didn't see it on camera, because that sounds, and I could be, again, I'm projecting the fuck out of this onto what I'm about to say. That feels like a real specific thing to say out loud. And when people say, I got the ick, like, it sticks out. It's not just like, I'm not really sure I'm into him anymore. Am I making sense? It doesn't matter.
I think she'd said it in a confessional at some point, Lexi. So I think it's
she
in,
did.
it's
I
in
missed
her.
that. Okay.
Well, not in this episode. It was in an earlier episode, but like I'm agreeing with you that I've heard it in her voice before. So she probably did say it in the car.
Yeah.
And then Kyle doesn't know what the ick is. And God bless Ciara for saying it's what we all got when you became a DJ.
I loved it.
I
loved it so much.
She's
Absolutely.
amazing.
And she also makes the distinction like, oh, that's not just breaking up. When you get the ick, it's true. Breaking up is like, we're not compatible. We love each other. This is the right thing to do. But the ick is something like the vagina self-seals and it doesn't really want to.
No, and there's relief on the other side of that conversation.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God. Oh.
And we're back with Lexi and Jesse, and Lexi reminds Jesse that he bailed on her just last night to get a 9 p.m. manicure. And Jesse goes, I didn't say that. And she's like, yes, you did. I have the text messages. Like, he's just so committed to lying. It's insane. And Lexi says that the realization that her first thought now is that he could be lying is why she's ending things. And he said all summer he doesn't want to have to change to be in a relationship. And she goes, you've changed me. I no longer trust people. The light in me is slowly dying because I'm exhausted from teaching you. It's been emotional whiplash.
And I don't doubt that that's how she feels. I don't doubt that. And yes.
And then he's a monster answering back. I don't appreciate you saying I'm lying, but you were. I mean, by withholding the truth of not telling you about the toe suck, I can understand how that's a lie. It's a fucking huge lie, dude. I just don't appreciate you calling me a liar. It's like, it's all just like riddly bullshit. It's like you are admitting that you lied, but you're saying you don't appreciate her calling you a liar. I don't appreciate you trying to tear me down and saying I was a really bad partner to you. And she's like, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Dude.
Just victimizing himself, blaming her.
God.
And she said, I said you made me feel bad.
Yeah.
You understand that, right? It felt like you betrayed me.
I don't think I would have at her age been able to have this kind of conversation.
Not in that level-headed a manner. I would be like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? I didn't say that. I'm not saying that but again, had Lexi wound up in a room with two naked men, one of them with a body part of hers in his mouth. You think Jesse would be
Oh,
like, why do you care so much? Oh, that one thing? Why do you care so much about that? What's the please, sir?
maybe she and West had been in the pool and West had flung his leg over hers.
Right. And
And
smushed
I
his
mean,
chest on her
yeah,
tits, like,
like
and I'm hard.
he's so,
Jesse, go away.
holy shit.
And
Um,
then he just says, okay, well, I'm not going to fight you on it. That's for sure. And Lexi goes, I didn't think you were going to. You never do.
dude.
Like, that is the ick talking right there, where she was just like, bye.
Yeah, like, okay, well, cool. Okay.
Yeah.
And then in Jesse's confessional, he says she's gaslighting me into thinking I did some really bad stuff. And I just wrote, oh my fucking God, abandon hope, ye all who enter here. And then he says, she's making up that I told these half truths and I'm a liar. I'm like, you are, dude. What are you? Again, abandon hope. The potential is not there. There's not even potential there that he's ever going to see the truth.
No, and the fact that we're a year out from this or 6 months out from this, and he's still making Instagram posts where he's like completely absolved of all, it's just shocking.
Yeah.
She's gaslighting you. She's not gaslighting.
Oh my
You did do a
God.
bunch of bad stuff, just like
He's gaslighting her.
100%. And she's exhausted, which is why she's like, hey, bye.
Oh my God, you
I just
spotted, you
wrote,
got it.
wow.
Yeah, I know. It was stunning.
It's so delusional. And like, how dare he in a confessional again? That's outside of the moment after the fact. You've had time to think through this. And your answer is she gaslit me. Women are terrible. Sierra's spicy. Lexi gaslights. It's like, what is you are the
We
common
were
denominator,
fine.
man.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a look.
So Jesse goes back to the fire pit and tells the guys he's single, and he and West go to their room so that they can download each other on what happened. And I don't have high hopes for this conversation. It's one fuckboy to another. What's going to happen here? I don't know.
Lexi tells the girls that last night she was crying and she was so upset, but today she's feeling steady. And Imral gets his like one moment of the whole night where he asks if this has ever happened before, where people date on day one and break up by the end of the summer. And Kyle says he didn't see the breakup coming today. And then the boys get confused about the word ick and have a little grandpa moment of like, what's with all the terminology? Red flags, yellow flags, icks, whatever.
Maybe you should look it up because most of it has come up because of the behavior exemplified by, typically it's the guys, I would say. I don't know, am I wrong?
Yeah, I mean,
Broad stroke generalization, but
you just got a good look at what the ick is. It's
Yeah.
the point of no return.
yeah, it's
So
the point
now
of no
you know.
return.
And
Blech.
then Lexi tells the girls that she's felt far away from all of them all summer because this relationship with Jesse has kind of hindered her making connections with them. I thought this was so nice. She's like, I would have formed the same opinion of me that you guys did. She gets what happens, understands like how it happens, and regrets that it happened, but it's kind of too late now. So they all are just like, oh, well.
Oh, God. Oh, Paige shows up and they fill her in that Leslie just broke up. And upstairs, Jesse tells West, I really had feelings for this girl, but she made me out to be a liar. And I wrote, now
Made
he's
me out.
gaslighting. Yeah,
Oh my
now he's
God.
gaslighting us. And then he proceeds to list his lies to West, like referring to Toegate, which he says, okay, I guess it was a lie by omission. Yes, that's what it was. You know what? Maybe Jesse and Kyle Richards should go date because they both never see what they're fucking doing. I don't
I
know.
just can't believe that he can't take any responsibility for his behavior. And he says that Lexi also said that he tells half truths in his storytelling to people, which we've seen exhibited in this episode already. And then he goes, I don't want to be friends with somebody who makes me out to seem like a liar, who smothers his girlfriend.
I just wrote, then don't lie and don't smother.
I wrote, you can't stand being in the presence of someone who is right about you. Like, you don't want to be friends with her because she's right. Then Lindsay's dinner delivery arrives. It's a sandwich dinner. So she's accidentally one-upped Carl, who brought his sweaty sandwiches earlier in
And
the afternoon.
Again, this is referring back to like probably more than a few seasons back when she had the bearded boyfriend that Oh, yeah, it was during
Stravi.
COVID times. Yes.
How many
And
sandwiches have you made for
yeah,
me?
yeah, exactly. And so again, is this what people refer to as going for like a memeable moment? Like she just wants to she wants to be a meme with the
It's
sandwich shit
all
and the
digs at
freedom
her
dinner.
exes.
Exactly.
It's Stravi and
Exactly.
Carl, and it's all insane. It just
Ugh,
seems, again, it's not
exhausting.
someone who is free.
Yeah, and
She
it's
is.
transparent. Like, come
Hmm.
on, man. And then Paige goes upstairs to check on Jessie, and Jessie tells her, I could tell that she was off. She was off. Lexi was off. Not something was off. She was off. Holy shit. I mean, I know I keep saying the same thing over and over using different words, and I continue to be shocked. That's my problem. I'm insane if I think that it can't get any worse. I think it's just seeing it in such a concentrated amount of time, like over the last 2 episodes in particular, where it's just like, how can he not see what's happening? How is this possible?
And then everyone else goes up and gathers in West and Jesse's room. And Jesse is now claiming that Lexi was upset that he had a nice time with Sierra at the US Open. And Sierra is all of us going, what are you talking about? Again, he's just manipulating the truth. And I understand Lexi being confused by his relationship with Sierra because of how he portrayed Sierra as this vindictive bitch who spent the summer punishing poor West and now Jesse. So it was weird for Lexi to have to make sense of Jesse now suddenly really enjoying Sierra's company after the day before he told her I dislike Sierra. It's not what Jesse is presenting it to be. It is exactly the half truths that Lexi accuses him of telling. And then Kyle, in a moment of real wisdom, goes, is there more to it or is that it? And Jesse lies and goes, no, Lexi doesn't feel that close with Sierra, implying that that's what led to the breakup just now. It's so infuriating to watch. And then Sierra unknowingly is calling Jesse out by saying, I was just in the kitchen and she said she hasn't felt close to all of the girls all summer. So which is it? Because you know what I hate? Inconsistency. And now
Uh,
Jesse knows he's going to get busted. So he blames her. He blames Lexi and says, she's saying I isolated her from the house and I just didn't know how to say to her, I think it's just taking you a second to make friendships with the girls. It's your problem. Ugh, God, I hate him.
Shit. So Kyle goes downstairs because he thinks he can offer some wisdom to Lexi, and he asks, hey, how much of your angst has to do with well, not her angst, but her current mindset? How much of that has to do with Jesse, and how much does it have to do with Ciara? When she hears Ciara, she's like, what? Like, notably, visually confused. And then Kyle tells her, yeah, that's what he told us. He said that you were so affected by Sierra's treatment of Jesse and West that's why, like, how could I like this woman if she's being so mean to you boys? And then Kyle says, well, that's what he told us. And Lexi tells him they had no conversations about Ciara. None in relation to my issues with him.
Yeah,
Holy
she
shit.
says, I don't even care about Sierra. I only cared because Jesse painted her as someone he had a beef with. So trusting him as his girlfriend, she took his side,
Uh-huh.
but didn't not realizing it was all like it is a weird, manipulative, isolating setup. Like it's
Yeah.
just so strange. And Kyle looks
Yeah.
more confused than ever. And Lexi wraps it up by saying, for Jesse to say, I'm ending this because of Sierra, that's fucking diabolical. And I agree. It's just him sacrificing all women in his circle to try and keep his good guy image alive. But he's irreparably destroyed that now.
Bruh.
And then Jesse and Wes take a walk in the backyard as West crunches chips. Jesse tells Wes the first thing Lexi said on their date was, how could you have fun with Sierra when you were so pissed at her after your conversation on the beach? But we saw what he told Lexi in bed. So she was right to be confused because that was when he said Sierra didn't take it well and it's infuriating. And also, like, why didn't this come up at Amanda's party? Why didn't this come up at the drive into the Hamptons? Like, why now, all of a sudden, now that you've been dumped, you're telling everyone that the first thing Lexi said was a bash on
He's
Sierra?
got to save face.
He's
He's
just
got
a
to save
gossipy
face.
pig.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Lexi tells Kyle that Jesse has been telling everyone in the house half-truths all summer. And
And
that's
then
what's,
she says, and you
yes,
all take it as Bible,
yeah.
basically saying, like,
Which
we're
just
all in the
speaks to
same boat here.
speaks to the greater issue, which is that, women are the ones, like, she was a stage 5 clinger, she was the one being dramatic, she was the one blah, 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 blah. It wasn't Jesse. Until the bed party, when the bed bugs started to see, like, oh, Jesse, you're acting a fucking fool. So now we're going to start side-eyeing you too. Like, maybe this isn't all what you've painted. So upstairs, Paige tells Ciara, what if you told Lexi, I had no idea you felt this way? Like, is there a way that we can try to get to the bottom of this? So we'll see. Then we head downstairs for the sandwich dinner, and Kyle refers to the potato salad as fire, and I got the ick, too. Potato salad is fire. What was the sandwich platter from Jimmy John's or Mike's? I mean, it wasn't. I don't think this was like locally handcrafted potato salad. Listen, I fucking love potato salad so much. I love potato salad. Potato salad being fire from Jersey Mike's or Potbelly, I can't.
I do
can't.
wonder if Lindsay got it from one of those, in the Hamptons, they have those like incredible, like small prepared food stores, like Ina Garten store started there.
Sure, yeah.
So I did wonder if, like, I don't know. I've had some of those like really good like beach town sandwiches and potato salad, and but again,
I just
the
thought
Dunkin'
I
Donuts
saw,
set me off, and I was like, I want everything to eat that these people are eating because it looks.
I thought I saw branded paper wrapper
I
on the
wouldn't be
sandwich,
surprised.
and I did not look closely at the credits at the end where it might have said promotional consideration by
Look, with
Jersey
Lindsay,
Mike's.
but with Lindsay, I wouldn't
Exactly.
be surprised if it was
Exactly. That's what I'm
SponCon.
saying. Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
So I don't. That's what made me think Kyle, fire. This potato salad is fire. You're high or you're drunk, and potato salad's tasting real good. But fire, and I've spent 1,000 hours talking about that. Moving on. Lindsay welcomes everyone dramatically. Okay. Saying dramatically when I'm talking about a woman, I don't know
It
if I'm okay with
applies
that.
to Lindsay.
Does it?
Covered.
It does.
To
It
call
does.
a platter of sandwiches a freedom dinner on the anniversary of Carl breaking up with you.
Okay.
That's dramatic, objectively dramatic. If it was a man doing the same thing, you'd say the same,
You're
right?
right. Okay.
It's not gendered. It's just
Okay.
dramatic.
Okay. All right. All right.
This is insane.
It
what
is.
she's done.
It's embarrassing. I got the ick.
Yeah.
I got the ick for Lindsay. She welcomes everyone to the Freedom Dinner. This is the anniversary of her and Carl's breakup. And God bless Carl. I'll let you talk about Carl.
I mean, they do sort of chip at each other. He questions why she would focus on him when she's with someone new, pregnant, and in a whole new chapter. Why harp on him? And she claims she's not. She's just reflecting on how much she's achieved in the last year. And God bless Carl. He goes, you have. You've done a lot. I'm really proud of you. And she goes, thank you. And Carl, with great restraint, says, I just think the post was a little much. It's a weird occasion to celebrate. And she goes, who's celebrating? And he's like, you called this the Freedom Dinner. And she goes, well, Lexi and Jesse just went through a tough moment. It's like that you didn't know about. You didn't know that was happening. This is all Carl related. And then Amanda literally chokes on her sandwich and has to like leave the table to go cough it up in the kitchen. And Lindsay lands on like, we're all free. We're all free.
Oh my God. Thank you, Carl, for setting me free so I could go accomplish my dreams. Dude.
I don't want what
Lindsay-
she has.
Yeah.
You seem real fucking uptight about your dream life. That
And
doesn't
this-
seem breezy to me.
Doesn't seem like her whole girl boss narrative. I mean, I respect her hustle. I do. I respect her hustle. But setting me free so I could accomplish my dreams is some victim ass weird, like.
Oh, and it's such a backhand to Carl.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
Just like, you
Passive
impotent
aggressive.
fuck. I'm dating a
Passive
rich man
aggressive.
who got me pregnant.
Yep.
Bye. It's so mean.
Yep.
And Carl just takes it as Lindsay drones on. And I thought that was
It
sadly, the
was.
right
That's
move.
what we learn in Al-Anon. Like
Yeah.
you cannot argue with someone that is in the throngs of insanity. She's not open. We can tell that she's not open. And so he's like, white flag, man. But it's a white flag for your own sanity. Not
Mhm.
conceding to what she's saying is right. It's just that I'm not going to get anywhere here.
It's that
Okay.
whole thing of like
All right.
acceptance doesn't mean you approve of it or
Yes.
like it at all. It just
Yes.
means you're done trying to force a change.
Exactly.
So I think
Exactly.
that's where he was. And then
Yes.
Lindsay weirdly puts Imrul on the spot. So this has gone poorly. The whole table is like silent and uncomfortable. And Lindsay puts Imrul on the spot to make a weird speech. I just thought that was a dick move. Like, you go to the new guy in the house, you just shit the bed, and now you're going to throw the focus to Imrul. Like, I don't like you at all, woman. Like, that is, I don't know. And Imrul is just like, no, I can't follow that. And I really appreciated his just honesty. He like put his hands up and was like, I'm not touching any of this. I just got here and I'm not long for this party. So no thanks. So then we have Lexi who says, I have a speech only for Jesse. And then directly to him, she says, stop saying things that aren't true. Saying that I broke up with you because of Sierra. And then Jesse's like, I didn't say that. And Lexi tells him that that's what Kyle just said he'd heard from the horse's mouth minutes ago, literal horse's mouth. And Lexi clarifies that the breakup had only to do with Jesse and his actions. And then, yeah, Paige weirdly defends Jesse, saying he wasn't up there speaking ill of Lexi. But yes, he was, in a really subtle, passive way, just like your boyfriend, Craig. He painted her as a bitch and himself as a victim, the same way he painted Sierra as a bitch and himself as a victim to Lexi. He was speaking ill of her. He just wasn't saying it directly.
And then Lexi said, well, on Sunday, Jesse told me how much he dislikes Ciara. And so that's what made Lexi say, well, I can see why you're having those feelings. Those feelings make sense because of how she's treated you and treated West. And then I got confused with this conversation and I rewound it about 5 times and I couldn't. Maybe it's because they were saying the same thing over and over again, but I did my best to try to understand the last minute of the conversation.
It's just Jesse like trying to backpedal, so it makes no sense. Like, so Sierra asked how Jesse and Sierra hanging out on Monday was factored into this conversation at all, because that's what Jesse had told everyone in the bedroom. And Lexi said, on Sunday, he told me he dislikes you. So I was confused that you were hanging out, having a good old time on Monday, hours later. And Jesse denies it. And then Lexi says, okay, fine, then maybe your communication is botched again. You know, if that's not what you said, then somehow that's what I received. So once again, I don't know what to tell you. And then Lexi said that she went into defensive mode for Jesse because she thought that they were in a relationship where you take up for each other. And he had claimed he was beefing with Sierra. So she took his side, not realizing he hadn't given her the whole story as usual. And then Lexi says that Jesse has spent the summer trying to pit all the girls against each other. And he asks, like, how is that my fault again? Like,
Bruh.
and she goes, based on what you told me about Sierra all summer, I don't trust her. Based on what you told me, I don't trust her. Not on my own experience of Sierra, but she does turn to Sierra and says, I'm sorry, I don't trust you. But that's not based on any interaction with Sierra. It's based on being fed a narrative from Jesse all summer long that now he's claiming he never fucking said, or if he did, he didn't mean it. Just like getting his toe set, like everything's an accident and an oopsies and it's not that big of a deal. That's sort of where it closed out.
I'm really glad that this was not the season finale. Of course not. They have to have a big ass party, of course.
Yes, they all have to get dressed up and yell at each other. And
It looks like death scene or like a death theme or monsters or something.
it does,
Yeah,
some graveyard
appropriate.
stuff.
Anyway,
Right?
Accidentally appropriate. I'm sure that ain't that deep. Yeah, excited for the season finale.
Me too.
Excited.
And I'm
And the
really excited for the
reunion.
reunion. Yes,
My
that's where it's
God.
at. I can't wait.
Yes, I can't either. I can't either. And I want to say, insanity is hoping for different results over and over. What's the
Taking the same action
Thank
and
you.
expecting different results.
So my action right here, well, I don't know. My feelings about being excited. I was excited for the Beverly Hills reunion too, and that one was deeply sad and disappointing. I did not get answers I wanted. People were not held accountable. I don't know what to expect from this reunion. I hope for some stuff. I hope that West apologizes to Ciara. I hope that Jesse sees shit. But from his appearance on Watch What Happens Live after this episode ran last night, no. West, maybe he'll apologize. I'm not sure. Jesse, I can't imagine him saying shit that's not going to be anything other than more reasons to get infuriated.
No, he will continue to blame everyone. And West, again, lightly to his credit, even if he doesn't apologize, he does appear to be trying to amend his behavior. Like he's trying to act better in Ciara's presence and be more thoughtful and respectful of her feelings. Cause, this whole summer he did all away games when he hooked up. And like, I don't know. I really liked watching. It's sort of like the evolution of the recovery from a breakup. Like Ciara came into the season still really hurt, / also wanting to still hook up with him, / crying in her confessionals over how he hurt her. By the end of the season, it was almost a joke how when she asked, "Are you guys pulling up forward or are you driving backwards?" And West was like, "Oh my God, she asked me if I'm moving forward or backward." And she was really relaxed because she took the time she needed to get through that breakup,
Mm-hmm.
And he did make some changes to his behavior to allow that to maybe happen. And I don't know that they won't ever be close again. He betrayed her trust, and I think Ciara has a pretty hard line on that, but I think they can coexist. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Anyways, what else did you
Anyways,
watch this week?
I watched the Saturday Night Live with Walton Goggins,
Mhm.
and God, is he reaching like saturation point? Like, is he going to start to lose his shine? I don't know.
I think,
It's
yeah, the tabloid stuff put it over the top.
I
Like
know, and
the Gemstones and White Lotus, great, great. And then the tabloid stuff, I was like, now it's weird to watch you do this show.
I
Cause now I'm
know, and
like,
I
did
I
you have an
also
affair? I don't know.
I also know how the tabloid sausage is made. And a lot of times the headlines can be so damning and terrible. And then you get more information later and you're like, oh God, I formed an opinion off of this person based on things that I don't even know that are true. But I mean, he's also getting a lot of like magazine layouts in like very editorial outfits. And
Did you see the one in the like yellow panties?
yes, I did.
Oh my.
Yeah, yeah. And so I don't know. I love him. I find him charming. I don't want him to go by the way of, turning how I feel. Who gives a shit? This is not why anybody called for me to talk
Look,
about Walton Goggins.
but I really want to see the movie that he's promoting right now. It does sound amazing. The one that his wife directed, maybe wrote also. It sounds incredible. So that I will go see because he's a really good actor. He
He's a
just
great
is.
actor.
So
Yes, he is.
whatever the tabloid,
Mm.
oversaturation factor might be, I still want to see the guy do his thing. He's
They
good at
better,
it.
I mean, Baby Billy needs to be nominated for Best Supporting in a Comedy for fucking sure. Anyway, so I watched Saturday Night Live and then I finished You on
Oh,
Netflix, the series finale. So I'm still not sure yet. I'm still not sure how I feel.
mm.
Part of me feels really let down. Part of me feels like there's schmaltzy and then there's fucking schmaltzy. There's camp and then there's not well thought out or cobbled together. I'm not sure yet. I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. Parts were cringe. Oof, I sounded cringe then. Oof, gave myself the ick saying cringe. My point is, I watched You. So that's it. I keep forgetting about Love Hotel, so I've got probably 2 episodes of those to catch up on, maybe just 1. But yeah. Anyway, how about you, friend?
I watched Atlanta and then Below Deck, whichever one is on right now. I think it's Mediterranean. I'm not sure, but oh God, it's so beautiful. And then I watched this documentary called Bad Influence: The Dark Side of Kidfluencing.
Oh,
So, by the way, for any holes you think there might be in your parenting, take a look at
I
this
know.
documentary and you'll
I
see that
know.
you are you are present and vigilant and loving and deeply supportive and like I don't know. It is such a it's such a weird unprotected world for these kids and
I
it's so lucrative. Jesus Christ.
I know.
But you put greedy, gross adults in charge, and it's just like not okay. It was,
I
ugh.
I think I've seen the I think I know what you're seeing just from seeing the little thumbnail on, like
Mhm.
you might be interested in, but yeah, I can't watch it because it's like when I see parents that are that just, ugh, just using their children. Anyway, yeah, I don't need to go off. You know what I'm saying, but yeah, like on the other side of
It's
this,
yeah.
yeah,
It's even more predatory than that. It's the people who make the money off the children because a lot of these parents, their kids just want to like be on camera and they had their own little YouTube channels. And then they were approached by these psychos who were like, move to LA, move into this house, make a bunch of money. And it just gets out of control. And they're so little. They're so little.
yeah.
And they form real friendships and bonds, but it's not healthy for them to be in that environment. So they have to tear apart these friendships. It's just fucking sad. Anyways,
Ew, ew.
oh my God, the internet is just, oh, so much darkness there.
I
Oh,
know, truly. YouTube like terrifies me. YouTube
me
terrifies me.
too.
It can be used for evil, and I don't like that side of it at all.
Well, and it is like the capitalist drug of it all to these, like the amount of money these little kids can pull in, but it's not authentic. They're being, oh, it's just bizarre. Anyways,
Yeah.
don't watch it. It's disturbing and you're an amazing parent, period.
Ugh, God
Just
bless.
take it from me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, yeah. And I think that's all I really remember getting into. What
Yeah.
was your antidepressant?
My antidepressant, I had a few this week. Mother's Day was lovely. We went into the city and had lunch at one of my favorite French bistros and walked around a cute neighborhood. And it was just really lovely to spend the day with my family. I got some beautiful flowers and lovely gifts and acknowledgments, and it was really nice. And then Monday, I wanted a drastic change to my hair, but not, I couldn't get bangs. So I don't know, you can't really even see them, but I can see them here. I got some light highlights and around my face. And that just really, and while I was getting them done, like I adore my colorist. I adore her. And when I get to see her and when I get a process like this where we get even more time to talk, like it just, I left feeling really good. I mean, I left with an amazing blowout and beautiful new highlights, and that felt really good. And then had a little ladies who lunch excursion yesterday to go see a design showcase house in the fancy neighborhood in San Francisco. And that was really fun too. And the weather's been beautiful. And then my mom came into town yesterday, and Josh and I have a belated weekend getaway tomorrow, and that'll be really nice. So it's been, and the weather's been beautiful. It's been a nice week, all parenting struggles considered. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's easier
good.
for me to focus on that stuff because it makes me like the feelings, like the terrified feelings, the judgmental feelings, those, and maybe this can change. Those feelings tend to overshadow the good stuff. And I think that's probably a coping mechanism,
Well, and
like
yeah,
don't get too excited all the time because this will go away. I am more familiar with staying in the feelings where I judge myself or I feel like something is out of my control or I'm scared. I beat myself up over that stuff, and that stuff's more familiar. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah. There's a guy in Al-Anon. He's since passed, but he used to always say that he's addicted to the chemicals his brain produces when he's in fear or judgment or negativity or like negative fantasy. And it's just like it's a habit, I guess, more
yeah,
than anything
yes,
else. Like you said,
yes.
that's been trained into us since we were little So it is like a practice to step outside of that and be like, and also what's good? Because this can
Right.
definitely be true. And also there's,
Yes. Yes. So again, oh well, not perfect yet, and I have work to do. But
but
I'm
it
glad
sounds
I
like you
just realized
enjoyed the
that in real
things.
time.
Yeah. And it
Hmm.
sounds like you could enjoy like the design house and the flowers and the
I
walk in the
did.
neighborhood. And
I
like,
did.
that's all
I
there
did.
is. It's
Yes.
just being present for all the things.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, friend? What was your antidepressant?
My antidepressant, weirdly, is like weather too. So I love the time change. I love a longer day. And today I got up super early at like 5:30 and the sun was already rising, which is like so great. And I went to go take this like hot Pilates class in this beautiful space, these like huge vaulted ceilings. Like it's just gorgeous. And it was just like a lovely way to start the day. And it's so much easier to start a day when the sun is already on your side, you know? And I just had a real Southern California appreciation morning
Mm,
where I was like, I love this time of year. I love this place in the world. And I just felt really like lucky and happy to be here and to be healthy. And yeah, so it's pretty simple.
I know.
Sunlight and a stretch at
Yeah.
dawn.
I
So
mean,
that was
it's
great.
the sunlight and the sunlight and the sun and the warm. I mean, there's a reason why they make those lights for seasonal affective disorder, you know? It makes
Hmm.
a big deal. It's a
Yeah.
big deal. It's a big deal. Oh, okay. Well, can't wait to come back next week and talk about the season finale of Summer House. Everyone, take really good care of yourselves, and
We'll talk next
we'll
week.
talk next week. Okay, bye, everyone.
Bye.
Ramona and Margie are obviously not doctors and do not provide medical advice. Their content is intended to be used for entertainment purposes only. It is not intended to be, should not be interpreted as, or used as a substitute for medical advice or a diagnosis of any health or fitness problem, condition, or disease, nor a recommendation for a specific test, doctor, care provider, procedure, treatment plan, product, or course of action.
My mom isn't a doctor.